We've talked about rope drop. We've talked about ride strategy. We've talked about crowd calendars. But I've never actually sat down and told you, park by park, exactly what the first 2 hours should look like. Not general advice, not philosophy, an actual game plan. Magic Kingdom, EPCOT, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. What to hit first, what to skip until later, and the one mistake most people make in the first 20 minutes that costs them the whole morning. Let's build the playbook. I'm Lee with All About the Duck, and this is Honest Disney World from two people who've been doing this for over 30 years. And today's video is one we probably should have made a long time ago. Because the number one question we get from people planning their first trip, or even their fifth trip, is some version of the same thing. Where do we go first? The answer is different at every park. And today I'm going to walk you through all four. Before we get into the parks, two quick ground rules for this playbook. Rule 1. This is a morning strategy. We're talking about roughly the first 2 hours after the park opens. Rope drop through about 10 or 10:30. After that, the day shifts and a different set of decisions take over. Rule 2. This assumes you're arriving at or near park opening. If you're a later arrival, the specifics change. But the underlying logic still applies, and I'll flag where it matters. Okay, let's start with the big one. Magic Kingdom is the most visited theme park on the planet, which means the morning game here matters more than anywhere else. Here's something we've learned over 100 trips. If we can avoid Magic Kingdom on a Monday, we do. That's when a lot of first time visitors start their vacation. Saturday can also be surprisingly busy because of local visitors. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes. They walk through the tunnel, see the castle, and head straight for Fantasyland. I get it. That's where the most iconic rides are. That's where Seven Dwarfs Mine Train lives. That's where the biggest names on everyone's must do list are waiting. And that's exactly where every other person in that park is also heading. By 9:15 on a moderate crowd day, Seven Dwarfs can already be pushing 60 minutes. We've seen it. It's not a rumor. Here's the playbook. When the park opens, go left. Head towards Adventureland, Liberty Square, and Frontierland before the crowd spreads that direction. Your first hour should look something like this. Jungle Cruise if the wait is short at the gate, and it almost always is at opening. It loads fast, it moves continuously, and it's genuinely one of the most enjoyable rides in the whole park. Then Pirates of the Caribbean next door. Then make your way toward Frontierland and ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure before the crowd from the park entrance catches up to that area. Now, one of the best days we've had in Magic Kingdom, we started with this strategy. We rope dropped and went to Jungle Cruise first, then Pirates of the Caribbean. We then went to Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Big Thunder Mountain. We were actually in Fantasyland riding a number of the smaller attractions before 9:30. Sometimes the plan just works out. By noon, we were done with what we wanted to ride and we're going back to ride some for a second time. And that's a pretty relaxing feeling in Magic Kingdom. Four major attractions before most people have finished their first line. That's a morning at Magic Kingdom. Then, and only then, head to Fantasyland. By the time you've knocked out the Adventureland, Liberty Square, and Frontierland run, the initial Fantasyland sprint has settled slightly. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is still going to have a wait, but it won't be the wall of people it was at 9 a.m. The one thing to check before you go: not everything opens at Rope Drop. Haunted Mansion, Pirates, and even some of Fantasyland attractions can have delayed openings on certain days. Check the My Disney Experience app before you arrive and click on each ride to see the actual opening time listed for that day. Don't assume, verify. What to save for later: Space Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, and the People Mover are all excellent mid morning or evening rides. Space Mountain in the final hour of the night is one of the great underrated Magic Kingdom experiences. You don't need to squeeze it into your first 2 hours. EPCOT has changed a lot in recent years, and that changes how the morning plays out. Another thing we've learned over the years is to avoid EPCOT on weekends if we can. It tends to draw bigger local crowds, especially during festivals, and a lot of people come specifically to enjoy the food, drinks, and the entertainment around the World Showcase. If you're looking for a quieter experience, weekdays are usually the better choice. The park now has genuine headliner rides: Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, Test Track, and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure all draw serious waits by mid morning. This wasn't always the case. When Epcot's biggest draw was Soarin', the morning crowd was a lot more manageable. Here's the current playbook. Guardians of the Galaxy is your rope drop target if it's on your list. Guardians has used several different boarding systems over the years, so always check the current setup before your trip. If it's operating a virtual queue on your visit, that's your very first move of the morning before you do anything else. Tap in, grab your spot, then go ride other things. If it's running individual lightning lane with no virtual queue, get there early and be prepared for a wait. It's worth it, but don't let it swallow your whole morning. After Guardians, Test Track, Frozen, and Remy. Test Track builds fast, and so does Frozen and Remy. These are best in that first 45-minute window before the pork fills. If you can do all of these in your opening stretch, your Epcot morning is a success regardless of what else happens. Then, slow down. Congratulations, you survived the morning. Now go eat something. This is the thing that makes Epcot different from every other park. After your morning headliner run, Epcot actually rewards slowing down. Soarin' and Living with the Land are excellent mid morning rides with queues that move steadily. Spaceship Earth almost never has a punishing wait. And then there's World Showcase. World Showcase doesn't officially open until 11, but when it does, it's the best place in all of Walt Disney World to spend a crowded afternoon. Eating your way around 11 countries while the rest of the park funnels toward Future World is one of the great Disney moves that most first timers miss entirely. What to save for later? Guardians in the evening, if you didn't get it in the morning, can occasionally have shorter waits in the final hour. We've walked on with almost no wait in that last stretch before the park closed. No guarantees, but worth a check on your app. Hollywood Studios is the smallest of four parks by usable space, which means crowds hit harder here, faster than anywhere else. There are essentially two areas that absorb the overwhelmingly majority of the morning crowd: Toy Story Land, specifically Slink Dog Dash, and Galaxy's Edge, specifically Rise of the Resistance. Here's the hard truth: if Rise of the Resistance is on your list, it needs to be your very first move of the morning, not your second, not after breakfast. First. Mickey Waffles will still be there. The line for Rise builds almost immediately at park opening, and it holds high all day. There's almost no evening relief. If you want it, you get it early or you wait in a long line. The Hollywood Studios Morning Playbook. If Rise of the Resistance is the priority, head there immediately. If Rise is not on your list, or you've done it before, here's an alternative morning that most people completely overlook. Go to Toy Story Land first for Slinky Dog Dash, which also builds fast. Then cut over to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway before the crowd from the park entrance reaches it. Then head to Star Tours. That's a solid 3 ride morning in Hollywood Studios with manageable waits. And you didn't have to sprint anywhere. What to save for later? The Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster are both excellent evening rides. The lines thin noticeably in that last hour and a half. If you're staying until close, save one of those for the final stretch. You'll thank yourself. The honest caveat: Hollywood Studios on a high crowd day is genuinely hard to navigate without Lightning Lane, more so than any other park. I want to be honest with you about that because I think some channels undersell how challenging this park gets when it's packed. Your morning window matters more here than anywhere else. Animal Kingdom is my personal favorite morning park. I'll just put that out there. The park has a different feel from the other three. It's lush, it's beautiful, and in the early morning, before the crowd builds and before the Florida heat settles in, it genuinely feels like you're somewhere else entirely. But it has one attraction that completely dominates the morning crowd: Flight of Passage. Flight of Passage is the rope drop target at Animal Kingdom. It is one of the most popular attractions in all of Walt Disney World. On a busy day, that ride can push 120 minutes by mid morning. We've seen it. And unlike some rides, it doesn't get meaningfully shorter in the evening. You need it in the morning. The Animal Kingdom Morning Playbook. Head directly to Pandora at park opening. Ride Flight of Passage first. If you have time and the line is short, Navi River Journey right next door is a beautiful, peaceful boat ride that often gets overlooked. It's not a thrill ride, but it's worth doing if you can walk right on. From Pandora, head to Africa. Kilimanjaro Safari is the second most important morning ride in that park, and it has a specific morning advantage that no other ride has anywhere at Disney World. The animals are almost always active in the morning. They're eating breakfast too. The heat of the afternoon settles them down. If you ride Kilimanjaro at 10 versus 2, you will likely see completely different safari. Almost every time we've ridden it first thing in the morning, the animals have been noticeably more active. After the safari, Expedition Everest in Asia is your third morning target. It builds steadily through the late morning, but rarely hits the punishing weights of Flight of Passage. What to save for later? The shows. Festival of the Lion King and Finding Nemo are excellent mid morning or afternoon options. They're air conditioned, they're genuinely entertaining, and they give your feet a break during the hottest part of the day. Make sure to check show times on the day you visit. Animal Kingdom's show lineup is one of the most underrated in all four parks. Every park has its own morning logic, but there's one rule that cuts across all four of them. Check your app before you leave the resort. Not when you get to the park, before you leave. Ride opening times change. Attractions go down for technical reasons. Virtual queues open at specific times that you need to know in advance. Spending 2 minutes on My Disney Experience before you walk out the door means you're never standing at the entrance of a ride at 9 in the morning finding out it doesn't open until noon. We've been doing this for over 30 years and we still check the app every single morning before we go. Not because we don't know the parks, because the parks change. Every day is a little different, and the guests who know that are the ones who adapt instead of react. So, there it is, the morning playbook for all four parks. Magic Kingdom, go left. Adventureland, Liberty Square, and Frontierland before Fantasyland. EPCOT, Guardians of the Galaxy first, then Test Track and Remy, and then let the day slow down naturally into World Showcase. Hollywood Studios, Rise of the Resistance if it's on your list, and do it first, no exceptions. Animal Kingdom, Flight of Passage at Rope Drop, Kilimanjaro Safari while the animals are active, Expedition Everest before the heat builds, and everywhere, check the app before you leave the resort. If you've got a Disney trip coming up, save this video now. Then, the night before each park day, come back and watch the section again. It'll only take a couple of minutes. And it'll help you start every morning with a plan instead of standing on Main Street wondering where to go first. Whether your trip is next month or 6 months from now. That's exactly why we made this video. If you're planning a Disney trip and want someone who's done this 100 times to help you build your actual day-by-day plan, we're certified Disney travel agents. Link is in the description. We'd love to help. Drop a comment and tell us, which park has the best morning? I know my answer. I'm curious about yours. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss next Monday. And as always, see you real soon.